in South Africa. Okay, we're going to be live and up and running. So yeah, like I've been here and I've been exposed to some different things in terms of the differences between America and South Africa. And one of the key things is the BEE policy, which is some type of reparational type of act that took place in order to give people basically like a return for the work they've been able to do in terms of the contributing to the masses and what has been going on in terms of the workforce here in South Africa post-apartheid. So BE is basically like a response to be able to make it more of an equal exchange and give some level of, access to those who haven't had access in the long run. And now they're trying to have some reformative acts in terms of BE policy. So I wrote an article from my learnings about this, and I mentioned that in your last not too long ago. And from there, I've been able to basically like embark on more of my creative journey in writing and just, taking in information and doing research and really trying to get a real full understanding of what, is the landscape here in South Africa. So we're going to start off with this poem to kind of, this framework what we have going on. So, and it's Azania's beekeepers to serve in the bees. So, subjection of bee colonies can accurately exemplify the disparaging treatment of modern bodies of commodity reproduction. Vibrating from this subjugated honey-loving species is an ancient language communicating signals disguised as insignificant buzzing to the conquering mind. So this is the beginning of the poem, and it's basically just talking about the relationship between a beekeeper and a bee colony, and how certain things that may be spoken between, and you may hear the vibrating of the bee colony, is not really understood because it's an ancient language amongst the bees that they kind of have built a pattern of understanding, and it's disguised as insignificant buzzing to the conquering mind. So this is a metaphor for basically like how homelands or different colonizing countries try to look at colonies that they kind of want to subject in a sense. Decoding the monotonous dialogue can only be exercised effectively by astute recognition of behavioral pattern from studious observers with consistent proximity to the hive settlements. So this is going into the role of the beekeeper, which is the person that kind of, is allowed to basically like be a middleman between the humans and the bee colonies. And this is a metaphor for basically like the mediators between workers and the ownership class that is happening among South Africa. So the intent influencing these superior witnesses largely determine the relationship form when liaison representation is required. So as this middleman of this beekeeper basically like comes in and being able to represent the bees because they may understand the patterns, understand the behavior, aspects, they're able to represent the bees for the humans and basically like negotiate deals. If you want honey from this basically like bee colony, you have to kind of, be respectful of the bees. You can't take it all. You can't be greedy in your approach. You got to kind of have a balanced relationship. And this, mediator is supposed to help you in terms of negotiating those terms from a worker class and basically like an ownership class. But I'm just using a metaphor of bees to kind of just give you the full aspect. Beekeepers assume this responsibility due to their unique ability to assess the appropriate compromise to foster harmonious reciprocation between the served and the bees. Again, this is the title of the article, The Served and the Bees, and it's a metaphor between basically like the working class and the ownership class. And this is